Hi there, my name is Patrik Michaelsen. I'm a researcher at the Department of Psychology, University of Gothenburg, and today I will talk about the value of investigating experiences and perceptions of nudges, which is something that I think is typically undervalued. There are at least two approaches to studying this. The most common way has been to use what I call a description-based approach. This is your typical survey-style study, where people do not themselves engage in a choice task, but are given a description of a nudge to assess. For instance, unacceptability and sometimes for anticipated experiences and feelings. This approach is great for gathering opinion, but it has a disadvantage in that it cannot get at actual experiences, which are highly valuable as well. As people are notoriously bad at predicting future experiences, I think we are often better off using an experience-based approach. In an experience-based approach, participants are subjected to the choice and to the nudge firsthand, and actually experience choosing before providing their thoughts on the nudge. And typically, it is actual experiences and not anticipated experiences that are most informative and valuable. So in what way can they be? Here are three senses. I want to stress that none of these are novel. In particular, the first one is pretty common. What I try to do here is present a more overarching framework for ways in which I think experiences and perceptions are valuable. I suggest that especially the latter two are greatly underappreciated and should be studied more from an experience-based perspective. Let's dig in shortly to each of them. So first, experiences and perceptions of nudges are valuable as moderators or mediators of behavior change success. Basically, if the nudge gives rise to positive or negative experiences and perceptions, this might impact present and later decision-making. So this might lead to reciprocal behavior or to reactance. We can get at this from investigating perceptions and experiences. We tried this in a paper. We had the idea that if we made the nudge more transparent, so we were more nice about the nudge, this might lead to more favorable perceptions of the choice architect, which in turn might lead to reciprocal behavior in a second choice. And here's the paper. We did not find support for this idea, or we found support for parts of the chain, but not for the full chain. Moving on, second sense, experiences and perceptions of nudges are part of the net effect of the intervention. This is quite simple. If the nudge makes people feel better, this should be counted positively towards the net effect of the nudge. And if it makes people feel bad, this should be counted negatively towards the net effect of the nudge. As nudges typically make greater use of insights into psychology than do other kinds of behavior change interventions, or policy interventions in general, I think there's a good case for nudges having larger experiential effects than other types of policy interventions. And this makes experiences and perceptions a more relevant part of the net effect of the intervention. I'm not suggesting that this is not presently known, but I think this is something that is underappreciated. So for instance, in a study, we investigated whether a default nudge influenced people's satisfaction with their choice. And here, a meta-analysis from this paper found that it did not, or well, it actually had a very small effect that was actually positive. But importantly, we did not see that the default nudge decreased people's satisfaction with their choices. And here's the paper for that. Finally, experiences and perceptions can provide an empirical perspective to ethical issues. For instance, are normative arguments empirically realistic? A lot of description-based survey research already investigates people's opinions on ethical matters. But using an experience-based approach, we can get further, and this research is so far fairly scarce. For instance, a critic might claim that a nudge hurts autonomy. Using an experience-based approach, we can test if actual decision makers agree. While this may not decisively settle the issue normatively, it gets way further than only assessing people's opinions and anticipated experiences. So we tested this, whether a default nudge lowered people's experienced autonomy in a series of studies. And again, the meta-analytic effect was very, very small. In this case, very, very close to zero. So we could see that people subjected to a default nudge, which is commonly considered one of the most intrusive kinds of nudges, they felt just as autonomous as did people in the control condition, which might be informative to the ethical debate on autonomy and nudging. And this is again from the same paper. So in summary, I have argued that target behavior outcome is not everything when assessing nudges. There is value in people's experiences and perceptions of the nudge as well, and these should be treated as more than merely secondary outcomes. Empirically, I have suggested that even intrusive default nudges may be less autonomy threatening than sometimes is feared, at least as judged by people themselves. And finally, please tell me what policy evaluation frameworks deal more broadly with experiences and perceptions. I mean, there is some work by, for instance, Krinen, Alcott, and of course, some by Sunstein that delves into these kinds of topics. But I feel like there should be more, which I failed to find. So please inform me who else makes a similar kind of arguments for experiences and perceptions of nudges for their value. Thank you very much for listening. Here are some papers in case you're interested, or yeah, if you're interested, just send me an email or talk to me in the chat. Cool. See you.